Good evening and welcome to a town council meeting for Wednesday, September 17th. We have in the gallery Mark Rushton, hello Oxford. First thing off, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We've all had a copy of the agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Councilor McNutt and seconded by Councilor Canning. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Also in your package, you received 4 sets of minutes from our last regular council meeting and 3 special council meeting. Any errors or omissions in those? Nothing? Okay, I'll declare them approved as submitted. First, so we'll go to business. 4.1 draft financial statements presented by Baker Tilly, Nova Scotia. I'm going to turn the floor over to Ruth Ann. Go ahead, Ruth Ann.
Okay, I'd just like to introduce Alita Mitchell. She's with Baker Tilly and she'll be presenting our consolidated financials for the year 2024-25. So that would end it March 31st, 2025. This is where we're at that point.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruth Ann. Would you like me to share the financial statements or does everyone have copies in front of them?
Everybody does have copies in front of them. The public doesn't, so you might want to share it.
Sure. Let me see if I can share. Just 1 second here.
I gave Mark.
Okay, it says sharing is not. Oh, there you go. So share. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I can't see your faces when I'm sharing my screen. So it's going to be just 1 second here. My apologies. Get back to the top. Let's see if I can move this bar out of the way so I can see. There you go. And this one a little bit. Perfect. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alita Mitchell. I'm a partner with Baker Tilly, Nova Scotia in Halifax, and we are the auditors for the town. I'm going to walk you through the consolidated financial statements this evening. And before I start getting into the details, there's just a number of things that I would like to mention. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that the way in which the council views the financial statements during their council meetings is different from what we're presenting here. They look at each fund individually. We are engaged to provide an opinion on the consolidated statements, which means it's all the activity from the various funds rolled up into one set of numbers. And certain transactions that you would see in one fund during the run of the year would actually consolidate because it's 2 transactions within the same town. And therefore, when you look at these numbers, there are certain things that look significantly different. And that is why things look different when you look at consolidated statements versus the individual statements you would look at on a day-to-day basis. The second thing I'd like to mention is our team had a meeting with the Finance Committee last week, where we walked through these financial statements in detail. So a lot more detail than we would tonight. So my presentation tonight is going to be very, very high level and not really go into as much detail as last week, purely because we've been through this and any significant questions that was asked of us were addressed. So before we're going to start going into the financial statements. So you'll see that currently the financial statements is in draft format. They are still in draft format because we cannot actually release final statements until we have received notification that the council have approved these financial statements. Once we are notified that the council have approved these statements, we have 2 more procedures to complete. The first is to perform a subsequent event review. That is just to ensure that there's no transactions or event that happened between the date of the balance sheet. So that is March 31st, 2025, and the day that we release our financial statements, that should be reflected in these financial statements. And the other item that we need to do is get a representation letter from management, just confirming that all representations made to us during the run of the audit is correct. So the first report there is management versus report. This is just management accepting responsibility for the financial statements. Ultimately, the financial statements is management's report responsibility. We as auditors are only responsible for the independent auditor's report. So this is what we are engaged to do and what we are responsible for. Similar to prior years, we are issuing a clean or unqualified opinion on these financial statements. This means that these financial statements are a fair presentation of the operating results and financial position of the town for the year ended March 31st, 2025, which is a good thing. On to the next statement, which is on page 5 of the financial statements. This is the statement of financial position. This statement represents the financial position of the town at a point in time. So you'll see this is as at March 31st, 2025. It means that on April 1st, 2025, these numbers may have changed. There's a few items that I'd like to highlight on the statement of financial position. The first one is that the town had a strong cash position at the end of the year. You will notice that there were $2.46 million in cash at the end of the year compared to $3 million in the prior year. When we go through the statement of cash flows, we'll walk through why those changes happened. The next item there that I'd like to draw your attention to is receivables. You'll see that receivables decreased from $500,000 to $285,000 in the current year. That is just purely due to timing of certain grants that was receivable at the end of last year that's not receivable this year. On the liability side, you will see that there is a bond deposit of $302,000 this year. That was an amount that was paid by a contractor that was contracted to do work for the town that was not bonded at the time. Therefore, the town asked for a deposit. This was actually subsequent to year-end repaid to them since they became bonded. The other item to note is the long-term debt. So you'll see that the long-term debt increased from $865,000 to $1.6 million in the current year. The town purchased a new fire truck this year, and that loan was incurred to fund the purchase of the truck. Other than that, the only other significant change on the statement of financial position that I'd like to highlight to you is the tangible capital assets. You will see that you had $8.9 million in assets in the prior year compared to almost $6 million in the current year. So over and above the fire engine that was purchased, the town also had the Foundry Street water main replacement that was done during the year and completed. So you'll see at the end of the year, the town has an accumulated surplus of almost $10.5 million compared to $10 million in the prior year. Would you like me to ask for questions after each statement or wait until the end of my presentation, Linda?
After each statement would be great.
After each statement. So any questions?
Hearing none. Okay.
Okay, carry on. Perfect. The next statement is the statement of operations and accumulated surplus. So this statement shows you, the revenues and expenses for the town for the year. So you will see that this year, the town had $3.7 million in revenues compared to a budget of $3.6 million and compared to the prior of almost $5 million. The majority of the increase is related to taxes. So you had higher taxes in the current year. And at the same time, the expenditures for the year came in at almost $3.3 million compared to a budget of almost $3.2 million compared to almost $3 million in the prior year, which leaves you with an operating surplus of approximately $422,000 compared to $500,000 in the prior year. You also had a gain on sale of some equity investments during the year, which brought in almost $6,000, which leaves you with an annual surplus of $428,000 for the year. The surplus that will be transferred to the reserves this year is actually $520,386. Any questions on this statement?
How do we get that amount that's being transferred to reserves?
There is a whole calculation that we usually provide to Ruth Ann that shows that. So it will be easier for her to show you how we get to that once we provide her with the calculation, rather than me try and explain it to you. If anyone here would like to see that, we can most certainly help by showing the calculation.
I did a little breakdown, Alita.
Okay.
On my own. There was that 520,000 does include the 285,000 that we plan to give to reserve for capital projects. It also includes the principal payments on capital projects that we made for debentures. We did have an excess of 178,000, and that was due to variations in the general operating budget, mainly due to not having a recreation leader, less expenses in that department, and the transfer tax was much more than what we had expected it to be, more sales of homes. And so we did have more money than expected. Okay, would you say that was pretty good summary of what went on? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on this statement before we move on? Okay, I'll take that as a no. The next statement is the statement of changes in net debt. So this takes your annual surplus and actually reconciles it to the net debt or net asset balance on the statement of financial position. So it just looks at what the net acquisition of capital assets were, any amortization taken during the year, any changes in inventories and prepaids. Then gives you your net financial change in the net financial asset for the year. Add the opening balance to that, gives you your closing balance. Any questions on this one?
Good
No.
to go.
Good to go. The last statement I will walk us through is the statement of changes in cash flows. These financial statements are prepared on the accrual basis of accounting, which means that we account for revenues and expenses and items, even if the actual cash hasn't been paid out for those items. This statement actually takes the accrual basis of accounting out of the picture and then helps you reconcile your actual surplus for the year to the cash balance at the end of the year. It's usually presented in four areas actually. It's the operating, so it shows you the net cash generated by operating, which this year you'll see is $1.6 million compared to $1.8 million in the prior year. It then shows you any cash flows generated or used in financing activities. So that is debt and repayment of debt. So you'll see that you were able to generate almost $770,000 in cash from financing this year compared to repayments made last year of almost $280,000. The next item is capital. That shows you the amount that was actually invested in capital this year. So you'll see that you almost invested $3 million in capital assets this year compared to only 417 in the prior year. And if there's any investing activities, so since you actually had a gain on the sale of an investment, there is another $5,000 there of cash that was generated. So all these changes shows that your cash decreased by almost $583,000 compared to the town actually generating cash in the prior year of $1.1 million. If you add the $3 million of cash at the beginning of the year, less the amount that was used during the year, gives you the closing cash balance of $2.46 million at the end of the year. The rest of the statements are just the notes. There are no significant changes to any of the notes or schedules from the prior year. If anyone has any questions on the schedules, I'll be very happy to answer those. But in the interest of time and where we've taken the committee through those in detail last week, I will just open it up for questions.
I would like to bring attention to the schedule for the Oxford water utility.
Sure.
Just because it is
Which one?
Separate, I will say the schedule starts on page 27.
Okay.
It's just for the water utility. And the reserve, the transfer to the reserve that we were talking about earlier does not include water. And I just want to make that very clear to everyone. The water is a separate altogether. And when you look at this, you will see that there was a deficit in water this year. We have applied to the UARB for rate increase. So I just wanted people to know that the status of our water fund is not great this year. Okay. So
Any- Thanks, Ruven. You asked before I could.
Yeah, yeah, and I was gonna also make the comment that the 520,000 that we're putting into reserve, into operating reserve, it does give us in a better condition there, makes us in a better condition that we're able to attract funding and proceed with the much needed infrastructure capital projects that are planned for the future. So just
What's in our?
letting you know. I'd have to look that up. Yeah. Or it's probably on one of these papers here. but
There
yeah.
is, let me just go to that note. This is the one that breaks it down by fund, Ruven.
So to attract, funding that requires 50 cent dollars or whatever, we needed a good lot in there in order to go ahead with Main Street project and for the Pugwash River Road reservoir replacement and project as well. So it's, I'm very happy with that result. Yeah.
Good, you're happy, we're happy.
Yeah.
So I want to mention, the audit committee did meet and there was a presentation, by Alita's team there. We had Emma there at our presentation. And so the audit committee met on Wednesday, September 10th, and they came up with a motion, to recommend the council of the town of Oxford to accept the consolidated financial statements for 24-25 with the amendments as it was presented. So the changes were made during the meeting there, and this is what you're looking at.
Good. So we need a motion to accept this.
I believe we have a couple of motions on the table for anyone that wants to look at the motion. Should I?
Yeah, you're.
You can, okay.
Sure.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Before we take, well, we put motion on the floor, then we'll take questions.
So there's two motions?
Yeah,
Okay, so the first motion, I move that the Oxford Town Council approve the 2024-2025 audited consolidated financial statements as presented by Baker Tilly Institution.
we have a seconder.
I'll second that.
Okay. You've heard the motion. Does anyone have any questions? Or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion was made by Councilor McNutt, please say aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Next motion.
Go. I move that Oxford Town Council transfer from the general operating fund to the operating reserve fund $520,386 for 2024-2025.
We have a seconder. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Questions? No comments? You've all heard the motion by Councilor McNutt. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Okay, that concludes that. Thank you, Alita.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, have a good evening.
Okay, now. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Moving right along, we'll go to 4.2, 2026, 2025, 2026 boards and committees update beautification program. 16, I'm going to turn the floor over to Linda.
Thank you. So, we had a committee called the Downtown Revitalization and Beautification Committee, and we're looking to change the name of that committee to Oxford Beautification Advisory Committee. And we had changed the members in that as well. There's going to be Councillor Jones, Councillor Canning Sweet, Jordan Burkhardt, and Giancarlo Tsing on this new committee or revised committee. So to explain the committee, there was a program that's going to be administered by the town of Oxford, and it is supported by the River Phillip Foundation, which is providing funds to improve the commercial streetscape on Main Street and Water Street, zoned under the Town of Oxford bylaws in the downtown commercial area. The facade improvement program is to help to improve the overall look and feel of the downtown area. Businesses who qualify will receive 50% of the cost up to $50,000. We are excited to support this beneficial program to the Town of Oxford business community. So this is about the program. This is now on our website. So any of the downtown commercial areas, I did get the opportunity to visit a few. There are still a few I haven't gotten to speak with yet, but this is on our website. So we did have an application, and the Pizza L'Amour Diathalum has applied and is our first recipient of the program. So we're already started of this program. So we wanted to share the great news story.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Is there any town money in this program, or is it all?
Administration wise, staff time and potentially maybe building permit fees might be considered as well. So other
Not
than
at
that,
all.
no,
Minimal. Okay.
very minimal. So what I'm looking for is to see if we can get a motion to approve the amended 25-26 boards and committees list to get the new committee that's on the go here for the beautification thing.
Someone want to make that a motion, please? So moved. Okay, second.
Second that.
Okay. Everybody heard it. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. It's made by Councillor Colburn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried.
Anything you want to add there, Councillor Jones? Because you were working with the, no, all good. Okay, you're good.
That's
Councillor Canning.
Paul.
Just checking in.
Yeah.
All right, all good.
Okay, next up, NSFM bylaw changes. This is a verbal presentation from Linda.
Okay, thank you. So NSFM, this is an organization that elected officials sit on and get to vote on. There has been some bylaw changes, recommendations. It has not happened yet. They're requesting for amendments. And there's two motions that councillors, elected officials need to be aware of. One motion is to remove the right for elected officials to have staff present at members' meetings, defined as the AGM or special meetings. So this is a concern that was raised by staff as well as elected officials, because that's taking your staff person that has the information out of the room. So this is something that there's quite a few people talking about and requesting that maybe you don't want to make that amendment as well.
So at a council meeting, the three of you wouldn't be able to do.
Correct. At the NSFM board meeting.
Oh, but
Yeah.
normal council meeting.
Oh, yeah, normal council
Okay.
meeting's fine. This is about the NSFM. And you guys are all members. And there's an AGM coming up with these votes. And this is what all the other municipalities are talking about, especially going to the AGM that's coming up. I know many of you don't plan to go, but if you do go, make sure you vote the way you're going to vote. We just want to make sure you're aware of these two amendments that could make changes in how work is going to happen with the NSFM. Also, the second one is there's a motion number 5 to amend the composition of the board. On the board, they have what they call the AMA, which is the Administrative Municipal Advisors. There's one seat, which is usually a CAO of the municipality that sits on the NSFM board. They're wanting to take that position out. And it's a communication piece. And this is the concern we have, is that you're taking out the CAO out of a voice that's going on provincially with your municipalities. So this is another, we want to make sure everyone is aware that these amendments are being asked for and being voted on here in the next one. So we have an opportunity to vote, maybe give it some consideration and look into it.
And how do we go about it?
Technically, as far as I know, there's no electronic vote, but I'm not privy to that. I understand it's at the AGM, you have to be physically there. But if you do go,
The reason, like, do they think?
We're not sure.
Interest, like, if you're.
we're not hearing that end. It's just the proposed
I think it's a turf war. Basically. It's larger centers, the mayors don't always get along with the CEOs and the senior staff. And I think it's turning into a turf war. But that's just my opinion. So all those emails you get from those Nova Scotia trip. Read them, those surveys in there, this was covered in the
This
survey.
morning, there was a
Yeah.
one today.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that.
We've got to read those and answer them. How if we, what they're asking, how it would affect. So, keep an eye, on it. Sorry.
Another item too, that we could look at is draft a letter and show our support for anyone to help raise awareness. There's a motion. We need to have a suggestion, but not necessary. That becomes. But I wanted to point it out and make sure you're all aware.
Well, I just don't understand why you wouldn't have staff there. Staff is there.
Exactly.
Or stuff
It's a
you-
term, it's turning into a term.
Can you imagine our meeting? You know,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
we would go to the
Boss.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
public art day. Yeah.
Turn it over to, oh, Linda's not.
Yeah. And you, most of you have day jobs,
Yeah.
right? And how are you to keep up on top of all these?
No.
Right.
I wouldn't do this job at that. minute.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
okay, anyway, I plan to write a letter to the NSFM object, there's a
Okay.
issue change this and
Sign our name.
you can, or you can send your own letter.
You pay on behalf of council.
All different. Can I have council's consensus to write a letter objecting to these two changes? Is there anybody objecting to that? I've got consensus. Can't hear the rattle from here. Well, I'll take that as a yes. You okay with it, Paul? Yes, okay. Again, I can't hear it rattle. Thank you. Okay, next up. Oh, it's me. I'm supposed to do this. Meadow Lane, public street, verbal presentation.
Okay, so this one is a housekeeping item. We do have Meadow Lane. Most people know where Meadow Lane is, but this topic came up as we were doing other work. You'll see there's a map on and you can see clearly Meadow Lane is identified in the map there. So there's a motion there that will give you the details as to about the survey plan. But the issue came up during some work because we're looking at a sale of property down on Meadow Lane. And what came up was that the public street had actually not been dedicated, or we cannot find evidence of that. So that being said, section 312-2 of the MGA states, when a street is laid out, opened and expanded, a survey plan shall be filed in the registry. So this is your survey plan that is on there. And we have a motion for council to consider to officially dedicate Meadow Lane as a public street in Hamilton. So that is,
Someone want to read that motion?
I'll read it. I move to dedicate Meadow Lane as a public street as shown on the plan or survey prepared by Lyndon Crowe, NSLS, entitled Plan of Subdivision Creating Lot 25-CE Meadow Lane and lots 25-AG and lots 25-EF and remainder lot 25-EH lands of town of Oxford. Meadow Lane, Oxford, dated February 7th, 2025, and subsequently reported in the Land Registration Office for the County of Cumberland at Amherst, Nova Scotia on August 22nd, 2025 as plan number 126321976.
Do we have a seconder?
Admin.
Okay. We've all heard the motion was made by Councillor Canning's. Any questions?
I have a question. We probably should ask it now or after, but when that was surveyed, Linda, is it not discovered that's actual street right now is not in the exact place it's supposed to be?
I don't know.
I was told that that street is not exactly where it's supposed to be.
Too late.
It's there now.
Just your. Yep, that is down there.
Okay,
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, you've all heard the motions made by Councillor Canning. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye, contrary minded. Hearing none, motion carried. Next up, we're going to correspondence. 5.1 RCMP 2024 year in review.
Okay, so there's a letter in the package that came forward from the Dennis Daly, the Assisting Commissioner. So he just mentioned in 2024, the Nova Scotia RCMP responded to thousands of calls for service and launched hundreds of investigations across the province, laying charges in a wide range of serious crimes committed both within Nova Scotia and beyond its borders. Many of the investigative efforts focused on gender-based violence, hate crimes, human trafficking, internet child exploitation, and serious and organized crime. Much of what they've accomplished was made possible through strong partnerships with other agencies and organizations. As Nova Scotia's provincial police service, they remain committed to serving and protecting Nova Scotians around the clock every day of the year. So they recently released Your Nova Scotia RCMP 2024. It's a web-based annual review that highlights key files, special initiatives, policing data, and their engagement in the community events across the province. The link is in that letter that's in the council package to receive this. While the report offers just a glimpse into the breadth of the daily policing work, it reflects the employees' unwavering dedication to building a safe Nova Scotia. So just raising awareness.
Now, if anybody watching at home wants to go to our website, they can
Pull that off the council package.
and
In the-
go to the link.
Yes,
Okay. Excellent.
so that's just an FYI.
Okay, next up, 5.2 OREC grant fundraiser request verbal presentation.
So this actually is a new item we added to the agenda, as well as 5.3, just to give everyone a heads up in case they're following at home. So this just came in and we saw an opportunity where we're having a council meeting tonight. There's a request for a fundraiser for council, and just to give an okay or not okay. So they're just asking a question for a fundraiser for the grads of the Oxford Regional Education Center. They're looking to to raise money for the end of the year. They would like to do a cow patty bingo in the lower soccer field. They would mark the lines off with flour and have one cow loose. And wherever it goes, everything would get cleaned up. Wait, is that right? Everyone would get cleaned up. Everything would get cleaned up, of course. So they just want to know if council is okay with this. I did check with our MPAL, and she's good with this, so she is aware of this. There is a use of facility agreement that we always do for any of our town of Oxford properties. We could get her to fill that out as well, but does council see any issues?
Anyone have issues with cow patty bingo?
All right.
To describe it together.
Well, we'll make Linda describe it.
Area. Bunches of bread. Okay.
Okay. That's a go. Next up, we have community member letter, zero tolerance policy for abuse.
So this one's not as much fun. This is actually sad that we have to come to this level, but we're receiving transfer station, which is the Oxford Depot, incident reports, some verbal abuse, and signal abuse as well is happening to our employees that are being told on to do this job. So we sent out a letter. It's just gone online, and it's out and about now, but we want to explain. So I want to read the letter, and in case council has any discussion regarding this. So, and I had some input from various sources, so thank you for your time in putting this together. So dear community members, we would like to take a moment to remind everyone of our zero tolerance policy regarding any form of abuse towards our staff. Our dedicated team is currently on site at our depot to inspect all recyclable and garbage bags to ensure compliance with provincial sorting guidelines. The staff are also there to do all they can to keep the Oxford Depot, the transfer station, open. To do this, we need the participation of users of this service. As we navigate through these changes, we ask for your patience and understanding. Our staff is simply following directives and is here to help educate and assist you with the process of sorting properly. If you don't know where something goes, just ask. Be advised that any abusive behavior towards our staff will not be tolerated and may result in a ban from the site and potentially other charges and fines. This is a measure that we've already had to take. There's been a couple instances already that had this happen. We do recognize that many of you are complying, and we thank you for that, are complying with and working with our staff as we proceed with the requiring sorting. This message is for the few depot users who seem to feel that they can verbally abuse and not cooperate with the staff to comply with the regulations. That behavior is unacceptable in any workplace. Not being in compliance with provincial regulations on garbage and recyclable material separation will cost Oxford, that is the taxpayers' money, and potentially threaten the future of our depot. So let's work together and be polite. And thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. So,
So is there any comments from the council? It's just ouch.
I had some people come towards me and say they're getting basically abused by the operating down there and singled out. So I assured them that's not the case that we're doing, but
Why we're in
that's
Yeah.
why some of them are getting more aggressive because they seem like they're being more singled out than anybody else. I've declared that's not the case, but they want to know who's monitoring them. Who's monitoring the employees out there?
There's two,
Yep,
right? And we have a bylaw officer down there stationed as well. So now there's three.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what they want to know.
yep,
They,
Anyway.
they just, and it's one I didn't want to bring up, but it's been bringing to my attention. And I just wanted to say that there's,
Good on-
everybody knows.
well,
Definitely.
if you're compliant, you're not gonna have any problems.
Nope.
That's simple.
And
Anyway.
no, if it is something, they can send me an email, but you know,
Yeah,
Keep it up.
and I think
Yeah.
it's always the frustration of what happens when it happens. People need to take a step back, take a breather, and realize we're not here to judge
Review it.
anybody or
Yeah.
take away from anybody. We're trying to just do
Keep it
our
open.
jobs.
And sorting garbage is not new. It's
No,
not
it's-
new
Yeah.
in other towns with curbside. You would get a big orange sticker if you didn't sort. So it's the same thing in a different set.
Being non-compliant is, like, cause they'll explain to you how, but being rude and being aggressive and being like, that's what we're talking about. We're not complaining about people not being compliant. We'll teach you. It's just that if you aren't compliant, just take a breather, ask some questions, we'll figure it out, get it better next time.
we're the only municipality that I know of in Nova Scotia that is doing this face to face. Anyone else is doing this curbside and it's sticker on the bed. So how hard is that to do it face to face to, you know, I mean, they're out there, they're, you know,
Do the
so
staff have any training and like
they're getting training.
nonviolent crisis or whatever?
That is coming out.
Because they need to have protection too.
And de-escalation. That's why we have the bylaw officer there right now and
Yeah.
our CNP have been notified. So we're working with that. And our solid waste coordinator is coming down next week with some training. So we're also looking into this.
It's not rocket science.
You said there's an app too you can go on for sorting, right?
Yes, there's an app,
And
it's
that's-
on our
Oh,
website.
website, yeah.
There's a link under the solid waste department and the guide there too, but also people working there will help. And we don't know everything. There is a solid waste hotline to give us patience to figure it all out. We're still learning.
Okay. So we have to go in camera, so I'll have to say goodbye to our favorite local reporter, Mark. And now are we gonna have any motions?
There is a potentially one that I'm expecting.
Okay.
It's cliffhanger, Mark.
Cliffhanger. Can I have a motion to go in camera, please?
So moved.
Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Colburn, second by Councillor, not all those in favor of going in camera, please say aye. Aye. Motion carried. The time is 6:39. We'll be back, folks.